Hey, I'm Steven from Rugged Routes, and today we're going to do an installation on the Sirius XM module for Lowrance. This will give us the ability to put satellite radio into our intercoms in the car, as well as do satellite overlays of weather on our maps. Now, to get started, on the left side on the module here is the antenna connection. The next is the audio connection, where we will plug into our intercom. The next connection is the network cable, which will plug into the back of the Lowrance itself. And on the right side would be the power cable, which I already have installed in the car. So it does come with a long coax cable to connect the module to the Sirius XM antenna, but I went ahead and ordered up a much shorter one just to help keep the cables behind the dash much cleaner. There's already a lot of wires back there, so this should help out quite a bit. And one other thing is the cable that has the audio that goes into the intercom is just a couple of RCA connections. Now these connections, as most of you probably know, don't plug straight into the intercom. So you'll need to get a audio input cable for the intercom, as well as an adapter that goes from an 1/8 inch audio jack to the RCA connections. So we'll go over that installation and how that hooks up in just a moment. So this is the Sirius XM antenna. On the bottom side, there's just a nut and a lock washer that you'll need to remove. And we're going to be installing this, luckily, on a hole that was from an old accessory right here on the top of the dash. So we'll drop the cable through, and I'll put the fasteners on the bottom side. So you will need the audio input cable for your intercom. These are available from both Rugged and PCI. So pretty standard equipment, but you will also need one of these adapter cables to go from the 1/8 inch audio jack to the RCA cables. We're also gonna put some shrink tubing on here so it doesn't rattle loose when it's bundled up behind the dash. And then the audio cable for the Sirius XM will also plug in here, and we'll do the same thing, shrink wrap these connections as well. So with the shrink wrap shrunk around these connections, it's going to keep these connections from coming loose when you're out on the trail, as well as the glue that's in here is going to help seal these connections from the elements. Cool, so with the audio connections complete, I'm going to set this aside and we will move on to the connection that will be going to the back of the Lowrance itself. In order to do that, we're going to have to remove the Lowrance from this bracket and then run the cable up from behind the dash. So we'll get started on that now. So with the Lowrance removed from the bracket, you can now see all the connections that are available on the back. This black one is the one for NEMA 2000, which goes to a bunch of accessories. This is our power cable on the other side here, and these two yellow connections are the ones that we're actually after. We're only going to need one of these network connections, so if your Lowrance only has one, that's going to be just fine. So we'll take that network cable for the Sirius XM module, feed it up from behind the dash, and plug it in right here. All right, so we've got the network cable run from behind the dash up to the Lowrance. So we'll just go ahead and plug this in and then start getting the Lowrance mounted back up in the bracket. All right, now that we've got the Lowrance mounted back in the dash with the network connection installed, we're going to make our final connections on the Sirius XM module. So we're going to start by connecting the coax cable that goes between the module and the antenna. So we'll just screw that on here. And then the other end will go to the antenna up under the dash as our last connection. But since we're here, we're going to go ahead and connect our audio cable here. It's just a quick twist lock, connects very easily. The network cable that goes to the back of the Lowrance itself, the one we just ran. Also a twist lock, very easy. And the last one is power, which I have run coming out of the bottom of the dash. So we'll connect that in just a moment. So our last connection is the power cable. So we'll just connect that right here, which is also an easy twist lock. So we'll take this module, we'll mount it up behind the dash, organize our cables, and then we'll move on to configuring the Lowrance itself. So we've got everything connected to the Sirius XM module. Everything is now powered up. Lowrance is powered up. Now what we need to do is enable the Sirius XM audio controls. So the way we do that is by going to Pages. We're going to go to the Settings gear in the top left, and with System selected on the left side, we're going to scroll down on the right and go to Advanced. In here, we want to click on Features, and we'll scroll down until we see Sirius XM. We're going to turn that on, and then we can exit out of all the menus. All right, so at this point, you can see we have the audio option here on the bottom left side of the screen, and when we tap on that, we get all of our Sirius XM audio controls. Now in the settings here, you'll see under channels, there's a few different options here. We can go to subscribe. See currently, because I don't have a subscription set up yet, that there's 3 sample channels. This one here, Taylor's version, I think it's just some sample Taylor Swift. So we'll leave that selected. We'll come back and we will unmute this. I'm also going to put my helmet on because we should be getting audio into the intercom, and you should also be able to hear my voice through the intercom as well. So now that we have the audio portion of this all running, the other option is to display the weather overlays on top of the navigation. So for that, once the subscription is up and running, we would switch the overlay option on the right side of the screen from off to weather. And what that's going to do is going to bring the weather facts information down from the Sirius XM satellites and show us what the weather patterns are like in the area that we have displayed on the screen. So there you have it, how to connect everything to the Sirius XM module as well as configuring the Lowrance itself. If you want to get a Sirius XM module for yourself and hook it up to your Lowrance, you can pick one up at ruggedroutes.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.